Hello and welcome to what we're going to call the Friday Top 5, a short video series that we're going to do covering the top 5 advocacy issues across the association and maybe a few association things too. I'm Will Gattenby, here with Will Roberts, and we're missing Bryson Panis today, so he's home with some kiddos. I got to trade him out after being sick a couple weeks ago. He's getting to take care of the kiddos, his own kiddos now, of course. But let's jump right into the top 5 key advocacy things happening right now across the association. So this coming Tuesday is Super Tuesday. That's the presidential primary day. So don't forget to get out there and vote on March 5th. Polls open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. There are a lot of candidates, actually, both Republican, Democrat, and Libertarian. Although this is no surprise to you guys, the general election slate is probably already set at this point in time. But regardless, go make sure your voice is heard. Number 2 for us this week, it was the first deadline week of the legislative session. Will, can you give us an update on a couple of our key bills?
House Bill 3255 is our HOA bill with Representative Mike Osborne and Senator Ali Seyfried. House Bill 3255 cleared committee and is now on the House floor for a full vote. House Bill 3255, as you may remember, is an HOA transparency bill where we would require HOAs that have outside management to disclose documents. All realtors know it's often difficult to get certain documents. It's difficult to make contact with their HOAs if they don't know who their managers are. Sometimes they don't have those documents available or those contact points available. So what we're really trying to do with this bill is to ensure that there's some modicum of transparency, the bare minimum of transparency standard for those HOAs so that they can, at the very least get the things that they are entitled to as members of those HOAs.
Great, thank you. And another major priority of ours, buyer-broker compensation disclosure. Where are we at there?
Sure, that's Senate Bill 1920, our buyer-broker bill with Senator Rosino, who's the original person who filed that for us. We really appreciate Senator Rosino shepherding that through as a realtor himself. He's been a great advocate for us. Senate Bill 1920 passed committee, Senate Business and Commerce, and will now go to the Senate floor. And we also this week picked up a House sponsor, or a House author, Representative Anthony Moore. Representative Moore is out of Clinton, Western Oklahoma, off of I-40, and he is himself a real estate attorney, so very well versed in all of these buyer broker matters, and he was happy and eager to help us with that on the House side, so we really appreciate him.
So for priority bills, it sounds like everything's A-OK after first deadline.
Yeah, we're moving forward. All of our bills that we want have cleared committee, or on to that next step to the floor.
All right, most bills, as you said, hit this first deadline week. They go from committee to the floor of the chamber that they're in. But some bills sort of work outside that timeline, and the governor signed one this week, eliminating the grocery tax. What's some of the background you can give us on the grocery tax and this bill that happened?
Yeah, House Bill 1955, it was a grocery tax cut. What it does is it eliminates the state's portion of the grocery sales tax, so that 4.5% that applied to groceries. That would be obviously food, things that you buy in grocery stores, and there are a couple of things that apply, bottled water, things like that. So that 4.5% that the state was taking now gets taken off of the grocery bill.
And when is this going to take effect? When can people start saving a little money in the grocery store?
So it'll be here in a couple of months, and I believe it's in November. Yeah, so here in about 6 months, that's when folks will start seeing those taxes get taken off their grocery bills. So yeah, fairly immediate relief, and 4.5% if you've got large grocery bills is not insignificant. If you've got children that eat a lot, as Will does. So that relief, again, all Oklahomans, it was something that the legislature came together and decided would be great relief for everybody.
All right. Number 4 for us this week, we're just calling it other bills, things that aren't quite that level of priority for the association, but certainly things that Bryson and Will are both working on at the Capitol. I think a really positive one we've sort of looked at is a financial literacy bill and trying to include some real estate and just general financial wellness topics. What can you tell us about that bill?
Yeah, House Bill 2158 is a Representative Dick Lowe and Senator Brenda Stanley bill. Representative Lowe, we've spoken to him last year about it quite a bit. This is a financial literacy bill that would apply to students that are in high school. And what it does is it sets a standard of education where they would need to take a half a unit of financial literacy in order to graduate. We did speak with Representative Lowe and Senator Stanley to insert some amendments that would ensure that people know about buying a home, selling a home, interest rates, just all the things that can kind of prepare people for home ownership. Everybody was fairly pleased with that result and felt that it was a good addition to what hopefully will be a good education piece for high schoolers.
Now, a more difficult topic is foreign land ownership or acquisition of land. Folks out there may remember that this was a hot button issue last year and is still a bit of a hot button issue today. What can you tell us about what's happening in that area?
A lot of these bills were going to prevent legal residents from buying land, potentially. And I think we as realtors, and Senator Brooks as well, wanted to make sure that those folks that are here legally, even if they're not citizens, but are here legally, would still have access to that market, to the housing market, to the land market, within the range of limitations that already exist in statute in the Oklahoma State Constitution. So we're working with Senator Brooks to insert those amendments, and we did do that.
Would you say it's safe to say that there's a little bit more work to be done in this regard, and there'll be a lot more conversation about this when the session goes on?
Yes, and as all of you know, the foreign land ownership conversation is not just an Oklahoman conversation. It's all over the country. Certainly the National Association of Realtors has talked about this ad nauseum. There are always going to be people that want to take it another step further. So it's definitely a fluid conversation, and we're hopeful that the bill that we have now is acceptable to everybody.
All right. Well, that brings us to number 5 on our list this week, and it's a general plug for our website, okrealtors.com/advocacy. At okrealtors.com/advocacy, you can find all sorts of tools and resources. You can find the policy agenda that the Board of Directors has approved for OAR this year. You can find a bill tracker looking at every single bill that we're tracking, not every single bill in the legislature, but every bill that is a major priority and even lower down priorities of the association. I want to say thank you to Will. Thank you to Bryson for all of his hard work, even though he cannot be here in the office with us today. And as well to the Government Affairs Committee for the number of long hours they've really already put on. Any kind words there for Brad Reeser and the chair, Matt Inouye, the vice chair, and other members of the Government Affairs Committee?
Yes, and I think we'll have a special shout out to those two. We had some conversations specifically surrounding the foreign land stuff where we had to sort of work on our feet as those bills were kind of getting fleshed out, and we were trying to understand exactly what we needed to do. So thank you to Matt and Brad for being receptive to those really kind of on-the-fly changes. So we really appreciate them and the rest of the Government Affairs Committee for making our job easy up there.
All right, that covers our top 5, Friday top 5 for the week. Don't forget to vote on Tuesday. We will see you guys next Friday.